Denise, thank you so much. I know everyone is busy these days. I know I am. So we'll officially open our meeting. Council, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, there's, Mr. Quinn,
Present.
Mr. Breslin, President, Mr. Jackson, Ms. McTighe, Mr. Nyland,
Present.
Mr. Papari,
Present.
sorry, Mr. Rother. Mr. Chairman, there appears to be a quorum present, able to proceed with the,
Thank you, Councilor. Again, I thank you all for being here this evening. Is there anyone from the public? Is there any public comments at this point? No one from the public, I believe. Okay. Can we have, did all of you receive the previous minutes of the last meeting? If you did, unless there's, any amendments to those minutes, may I have a motion to approve the previous minutes?
I just have one question.
Yes.
We talked about a quarterly job report from Hecate. Is that something that should be in the minutes?
It probably should, Counselor.
there was a discussion regarding that. We can, amend the minutes to reflect that discussion.
Okay.
I know it's in the documents.
It is, okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, boss.
So we'll present an amended, what I would ask, unless you think this is not the way to go, we approve tonight's minutes subject to revision and presentation to the board.
Any other observations?
It's the second, Mr. Perry, one by Mr. Perry. Do we have a second on the motion to approve?
All in favor? Thank you. Motion is passed. Financial report. Sir,
We have the financial reports. I was able to send them out the other day. And you'll notice, certainly the first 2 months of the year, there's very little activity. Some of the reason that's closed until the other reason the quickly to close our jobs or our projects by the end of the year. The only income we have is our interest in the account and our expenses for the month of January, February. So we have a net loss for the first 2 months of $19,114.82. And then of course, balance sheet. I think the key thing is, we have the sufficient cash in our cash accounts to meet any obligations we have, including the potential funding of the plug power project. Mike worked to structure that so that we had the liquidity.
any questions?
I'll make another comment, just, if you're looking at the statement, we got about 5 million, in, Trustco's checking account. 2 million of issues allocated towards the plug project, so, call it another 3 million-ish. That I moved 2.5 million into some laddered CDs at Trustco, 6, 7, and 9 months, so which will be reflected in the next financial statement. I'll break those out separately.
Thank you, Mike. Any other questions? or
How much was that like? How many?
2.5 million.
2.5 million. Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the financial report. Motion, seconds,
President, second by Mr. Berman.
all in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you. Unfinished business.
The, really don't have a lot of unfinished business. The business, which, we have before us with plug power is actually an ongoing endeavor. I think it's more, and because we need specific action, by the word of requesting specific action, would be under the business. So at the present, I have no new business to present.
Okay, no business. Unless are there any questions relative to the unfinished business? Okay, then let's move on to this.
But Flood Power, as we know, has been, working on the project down in Bethlehem for a while now. Since its inception, both the cost and, to an extent, the scope of the project changed, not so much scope as some of the decisions regarding what the project will contain and consist of. We have a representative from Flood Power here. First, I'd like to turn the floor over to Joe Scott to talk about the resolution that's before the board tonight, authorizing the increase in enforcement.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Foreman. So the resolution that was distributed to you in advance of the meeting amends the approving resolution that we adopted back in April of last year. And the amendment is relatively straightforward. It reflects the increase in project cost of the project. And as Mr. Foreman indicated, we have a representative from Plug Tower here to describe what the increase is and the background with respect to the increase. And with respect to the impact of the increase, it is that it increases the amount of the sales tax exemption that the IDA will be granting, assuming that the resolution moves forward, that the IDA will be granting the company in connection to the project. Everything else stays the same. We have a clawback agreement. There's job representations. There's representations with respect to completion of the project, investment in the project. So all the other items that we discussed at the April meeting, including the $2 million investment by the IDA, and the project remains the same. What we're doing here is modifying the numbers and our files to reflect an increase in the project and an increase in the exemptions being granted by the IDA with respect to the project, which is solely a sales tax exemption. You'll recall that this project for Plug Power is the outfitting of the interior of the building and the acquisition and installation of equipment. Previously, we did the Vista project with the Columbia Development Entity that did the building. And that project we closed down last year, and that's where there was a mortgage recording tax and sales tax for the building itself, and also a pilot agreement for the building. And that is all with respect to the landlord. And what we're doing now is finishing up the work, the IDA project for the tenant. For that, I'll pass it back. I'll obviously open for any comments or questions. Pass it back to you, Mr. Foreman.
If there are any questions,
Yeah, are there any questions in regards?
Just a question as it relates to, what's the scope of the new equipment? I mean, yeah, it went from like, what is it, 5 and change to 85 million.
If I can, this is Mr. McLean, he's I want to make your title right, the
Programming. Principal program.
principal program manager for Plug Power. He joins here tonight to make himself available to answer questions.
So, nothing detailed, just, maybe high level.
Yeah, I can give you a quick overview. And first of all, thank you all for having me tonight. I've been on the project since day one, so very familiar with the scope. It's been a great experience, and we've accomplished a lot in a year. Also in that same year, we've made a lot of business decisions that has expanded the scope. Within the footprint of the building was 300,000 square feet. Within that footprint, we added 100,000 square foot mezzanine. 50,000 square foot mezzanine. So now the total square footage that we're working on is 406,000. So we have more area to just naturally fit up. But a key component of that in the first phase, which is currently open, and we opened in November, 100,000 square foot of that was warehouse racking. And as your simple warehouse racking and warehousing equipment, furnished that space. We have since identified that area to be better used as additional manufacturing space. And we are actually moving what we have is our new product. It's a stationary product to replace diesel generators. And they're built within 8 foot by 40 foot sea containers. This is out. So if you could picture, this is moving large equipment around. It is using our hydrogen technology. So there's a lot of controls involved in it, and there's a lot of heavy equipment that is going to move that around. That's really a major component of is increasing that manufacturing capability. Also our ProGen, because of efficiencies, which is what goes inside the sea container, that's going to be made at Vista as well. So just using the operational efficiencies, we decided that more manufacturing space was better use of the facility, which expanded the scope. So
Does that add like additional staffing,
it does add
With
additional
that, so
staffing.
more. full-time employment at the facility? Oh, great.
Yep.
So,
Are you working out there now on a daily basis or?
We are out there firstly, yeah. So we started our first manufacturing line. Our first unit came off the line in November 7th.
So how are the employees doing like with all the improvements that this outline and this?
Everything has been great. We entered into an agreement with CDTA to extend the bus line down, so the bus actually comes down Vista Boulevard
that
now.
was one of our requirements, I
Yep.
think, right?
Yep. So, and we have had hiring events the past three weeks, to start bringing on, more full-time employees. In 3 weeks, we should be 100% full on our operating lines. Right now, we're only using one manufacturing line, so we have 2 more lines coming online. And that's another factor of this, the improvement of scope. Because of the timing, we have our manufacturing lines are the way we always have done them, which is manual, very labor intensive. And now we're looking at introducing some new efficiencies on that piece as well. So that again is spanning.
How is the labor market? And you already saw it there. Challenges out there.
The challenges are there for sure. An advantage for us is because of our current headquarters in Latham, we're recruiting a little bit further south in the county than we had traditionally. So it's opening up a new job market for us. We are on Bethlehem Chamber. I'm a board member. I've joined the chamber board, and we're participating in their job fair in May. So we're definitely, pretty active there. And then we have a very aggressive community benefits plan, I think, with the county as well to keep, threaded in the community and help with those hiring challenges for sure.
Any job fairs at Albany, around Albany, or they're all on a?
I think the Albany one is in April 19th. I think there's another Albany job fair as well. If they're there, there was one at Siena, there's, especially now, I think a lot of, actually I saw the city has their one coming up too, just trying to fill the seasonal jobs.
Oh, yeah.
And then we're full, they're all full-time jobs. We don't have, currently don't have a part-time market. And we're all trying to it's 3 shifts. When we're full and operational, it'll be 24/7. So it's a full-time operation for sure that we're staffing. And it's 6, we run a 6-shift model where it's 4 10s that overlap with each other. And that also helps with the traffic, which is one of our town approvals as well.
Okay, any other questions?
So, Mr. Chairman, we look for a motion to approve the resolution.
Well, one last question.
Okay.
When do you think we're gonna close?
I expect in the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
But, sorry, Mr. Foreman, before we move forward to the resolution, I think you want to give a report on the public hearing that we held last
Oh, I'm
week.
sorry.
Yep.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for that.
And before you do that, I do have minutes of the public hearing for handout to the members.
I think I have done about email.
It didn't make the email.
Okay. What Mr. Scott is referring to is one of the requirements was that when there's project approved, if there's a change in the project, it results in benefits being granted $100,000 more.
Okay.
Than originally authorized, that there's a requirement.
I didn't read about it.
Hearing.
But is there another copy?
You can take that. You sent that out.
I did. Well, look at that.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Oh, okay, this packet here?
Yes.
I'm more efficient than I thought.
I credit the staff when I have a piece of good luck like that.
Well, actually, this went out by me. So.
I know. Listen. Anyway, there's a requirement when the benefits to be granted increases for us, new public hearing, a supplemental public hearing. We had that public hearing on Monday of last week in the Bethlehem Town Hall. There were no members of the public who attended. There was no comments offered at that time. And certainly no objection was expressed by anyone who was present. There was no written commentary for the hearing received, and so at this point, I think that if there's anything further about the public hearing.
No, you hit the two highlights. There was no one there. We've received no written comments. And if you want to watch the event, it is posted with Rosemary's help. It's posted on the IDA's website, the live streamed public hearing.
Was that the only public hearing? Was there another one?
There was one before the
Yeah,
the April
Yeah.
original approval. So we've done two public hearings on this. Chair.
Okay.
So at this point, unless there's something further, thank you for your reminder. Mr. Chairman, we look for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question?
Yeah.
With this change in the scope of, the dollar amount going up so much, is there a commensurate change in the fee? Is there a fee sharing arrangement on this, project as there was, on the Vista side? Just
Yes. Yeah, so the original project was using round numbers 15,000,007. And so our fee is 1% of the 15,000,007. The project now is using round numbers 85 million. So it'll be 1% of 85 million, which is approximately 850,000. And we would expect to collect that in the next week or two when we close. And in the original approving resolution, there was approval by the board to do the same 3/4, 1/4 sharing with the local IDA, because the county IDA is doing the project in the town of Bethlehem and the town of New Scotland. So the short answer is yes. So we would do 25 basis points of 850, whatever that number is.
and that's allocated between Bethlehem and New Scotland, or that's really not part of it?
It actually goes to the way we've handled the fee sharing and on IDA projects is that we share with the local IDA. So it would be between the county IDA and the Bethlehem IDA.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, can we get a motion for the approval of that report? Which is made second, all in favor?
Second by, I'm sorry.
Second by.
Second, no, thank you.
Okay.
All those in favor?
All in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried, thank you.
The next item on the agenda is a post contract with the Advanced Albany County Alliance. Just to give a small overview of this, over the years, the demands on IDAs have changed and grown. And for many years, the staffing levels, support levels for the IDA have remained the same. What's happened with the increased scrutiny, as well as the fact that the county has moved to address the economic development needs of to address the Albany County's needs for economic development, has started to consolidate all of the economic development entities in a centralized grouping. That entity was the Advanced Albany County Alliance, which was created by the Albany County Legislature, I believe, in 2020. Tim, is that correct? Yeah. And one of the things that they're looking to do, and I think dovetails with the needs of the agency, is to provide administrative support to the agency. I know over the years, there's been a number of times when the board members and staff, chairman, have all wished that we were able to do more, to get more background, to do more. And we simply a lot of times have not had the resources available to us. The purpose of this is to provide that type of support to the agency, consistent with what's being done with other entities in the county. I feel badly, and to the extent I may have inadvertently contributed to it, I know, that, some people were concerned that, they were being asked to consider something or vote on something without adequate time to review it or to question it. And, that was not intentional, and that is not the intent here. And I don't want to speak with Chairman Clay, but he's been clear that, the process here will involve adequate board review, questions and input, prior to final approval. But it's also clear, I think, that on a substantive level, and as the board considers it, I think they will, concur that this is something that's very much needed and overdue. And the key is just to make sure that it's done right, that the foundation is laid properly. And that's a concern I've heard from yourselves, from Mr. Murphy as CEO. And, so tonight, what we're doing is presenting a resolution asking for authorization, to go forward with this. One thing, that the chairman has made clear, and again, I won't presume to speak for him on this, that this will not be finalized without the board's input. But we would like to ask the board to consider authorizing us to move forward with this. The county is looking to move forward. We're part of a much bigger picture, what they're endeavoring to do, and would like to ask to move forward. So that's
Yeah, I think everyone understands the purpose of this, what they're trying to do here. I mean, I had questions at the very beginning myself, I didn't want to lose the identity of the IDA and the larger county government. It's separate and apart. The IDA is separate by law from the county, regular county government. So, but after having met with and I think all of you probably know Kevin and Rosemary. Kevin is the director of the Alliance, and they've been very active over the last
2 years.
3 years. And so the purpose of it simply is to centralize economic development in the county of Albany. And to be, to make Albany more competitive with the other counties. And it's a one-shop approach to this, that anyone interested in doing business with Albany County can go to this one place. And there's other entities that are part of this grouping, like the Albany County Land Bank, for one. And who else is a part of it, Kevin?
The Albany County Business Development Corporation, the Alliance, and if the IDA, and we're in discussions with the CRC as well, Albany County Capital Resources Corporation.
So I personally have no problem with it. I've really thought about it, and Walter and I almost talk every day about it. He and I and Council Joe Scott, we've discussed this. We spent a great deal of time going through the agreement to make sure. And I had a lot of questions and a lot of additions and amendments to the original agreement. The agreement was sent back to a proposed agreement was sent back to Kevin and the Alliance. They reviewed it and they sent it back to us, and with whatever changes that was made, and consequently what you have before you is a proposed agreement. And again, this is not, we're not looking for approval on this agreement tonight. But certainly conceptually, we would like to move it ahead, and for you to consider that, and and actually authorize me to continue to discuss this along with Mr. O'Connor and the Alliance folks, and so we want you to, if you have questions to ask, please ask them, and we'll get to see if we get the answers, and we have the experts here to answer any questions.
And they've indicated they will make stuff with Mr. O'Connor's has offered and going forward. It certainly is not intended as a quiz. What you have been asked is, we will make these offered and has been very generous with his time and efforts to make.
No, no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I apologize, Mr. Chairman, for one thing, if I.
Go ahead, sure, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, record. One of the things, despite the integration, there's sensitivity to, and I anticipate no problem with, and discuss this with Mr. O'Connor. The IDA is a creature of statute. There's the law is a law that created IDAs and that regulates that, the regulations that apply to us. That still will be true. And so while in terms of administrative coordination and working, the entity, the legal entity of the IDA will be unchanged and will comply with all the relevant laws and regulations going forward. And this is not intended to supplant that or change that. So they have no fear that we would be heading into uncharted regulatory or legal waters here. That's not what this is. I'm sorry.
If I could jump in,
Yes, sir.
the CR or the Alliance is kind of like our feeder. I mean, this plug power thing all came, so you can see the effect of it. You know, with this one stop, we may end up doing 2 or 3 projects a year that we would never have thought of. I mean, up until this plug thing, the Lafarge that we did down the river 5, 6, 7 years ago was the biggest one. We may have one of those every year with the Alliance. So it's a great relationship.
Thank God for Lafarge, we want to have the money to participate in the deal, right?
That's
That's true.
true. And, you know, that's a one that where the things they did down there worked and they got it. That's still done.
And I'd like to, with Kevin's approval, of course, I'd like to invite all of you over to 111. They have a nice suite of offices over at 111 Washington Avenue. It's on the first floor. I invite all of you to stop in and see the suite of offices that they have there, and all the aforementioned agencies are in there or will be in there, and we'll be there with your approval. If you approve it, we will be in there with them. So we will vacate this spot and move over to 111 Washington Avenue. It's nice. It's a nice suite of offices.
Does county have plans for the space if this?
Well, I don't know why they came to me, but there's people already came to me and asked me if they could have this office. I have no control. But yeah, there's several people would like to move into this spot. The other thing, secondarily, the furniture and everything in this office belong to us. We have to work that deal out. It is not county owned, but it's owned by the IDA. So we have to kind of work that out. And Al made a comment a minute ago about the CRC. The CRC, I have been in constant, so that you know, I've been in constant contact with the chairman of the CRC, Gary. And any move that I've made, I've contacted him. We worked very closely. He agreed with what we're doing. In fact, the CRC, as you know, passed a resolution, given, I think, putting $10,000 to assist in the movement over to 111 Washington Avenue. So, I think it's a good move and certainly highly recommended, but again, it's up to you, the board, who has to approve the consolidation or the move, but I certainly would recommend it. This guy, he don't look honest, but he's an honest guy, you know? Just because I've known Kevin for many, many years. I've worked with him before. He's one of the most gentleman people that I've had the opportunity to work with. I say that, Walter know, I say that repeatedly about him. And one of the reasons that I recommended that this go forward is because of him. Because I have 100% faith in him and confidence in him. Okay, any other questions?
Just some like logistical things, like
Yeah, sure.
number 2 on Schedule A, which is page A1 of the description of services.
Yeah, it refers to paragraph 12, but paragraph 12.
Yeah.
Gives our address. Yeah.
This is really helpful to have a lot of this detail, but I'm curious, like, how would that work with what you do today? Like, how is that gonna be, is that something still being worked out, or is it?
That's a great question. I mean, the spirit, I believe today was to move the process along. I haven't gotten into the weeds on it.
Yeah,
I've asked similar questions to Joe about, a number of points here, so I guess I'll just say conceptually, I think it's a very good move on doing this. As far as the reporting coming back from the organization to the board, I would think should be stepped up a couple of notches, right?
Yeah.
Where, we're gonna have better data, more data,
mhm.
and a little bit more robust. So I think between now and the next, again, I'm just giving you my input. Maybe we can work out some of those details about, we know that there's a policy in place for number 2 specifically, right? So, I would assume the organization is gonna follow the policy that we have in place. And any changes they'd have to come to the board. So I think, certainly I'm gonna be okay. My personal opinion, I'll be okay with 2, 3, 4, 5, and all of them, but
Right.
we just need to get a little bit more.
Wording may change to be support for the deposit versus provide for, or something,
Yeah.
typically, because you won't be doing actual depositing, I'm assuming.
Yeah, they will be.
They will be.
In this document, it specifically states you're gonna be providing financial statements.
Oh, yeah,
So, things that historically Al would do, I assume your organization is gonna do, and Al is no longer gonna be doing.
Well, if I may, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, please.
that is all to be determined. For example, we provide management support to the Albany County Business Development Corporation, which Al is on and does the financials for that. We've now used our CFO working with Al to do that reporting and financial management of the corporation. We could do
Yeah,
that.
those type of details I think we need to know, because in my eyes, I'm seeing duplicated expense.
Yeah.
Right, so, as me sitting here on the IDA, I have to look at saying,
Right.
what's in the best interest of the IDA? And I'm trying to reduce its costs to get more benefits, right? So,
So you may have like a subcontractor relationship with Al and somehow bringing that in under.
Well, right now, we don't have an answer.
yeah, right.
Working process. I understand.
And one thing, these are all excellent questions. We've started wrestling with them and, outlining them, because it's a practical thing and it's virtually unlimited number of potential. Well, what about this situation, that situation? One of the things that we've had the good fortune to do, and again, I second the sentiment regarding I do not believe personally that Quad Park project would be if it wasn't for the effort of the owner. So, but one of the things that's done, because the county IDA was involved, it's drawn us in primarily through my involvement. One of the things that the Alliance Kevin has done was set up a weekly meeting with representatives from the town of both New Scotland and Bethlehem and their IDAs. And there was concern because, well, why aren't we doing it? And I'm going to get that, but there was the potential there for lack of communication, misunderstanding, whatever. The approach he took and the resources, bringing everybody in, worked very well, I think, and you haven't heard a lot of, things, I don't think you will. But what it's done is given us the opportunity to work together. It's given me the opportunity to work together, and the chairman, 27, the chairman, to work with them. And one of the things we've begun to do, and I extend my thanks both Kevin and Rosemary for their help setting up this meeting. We're learning we're learning a lot of practical issues. So I think to me, the best way to view it as a process, as opposed to, okay, our work here, when the agreement's signed, that the agreement itself will reflect the process for.
Sure.
Again, that was just my interpretation of reading what I have here. So, the devil's in the details, right? So.
It may be good to document to your point, what the IDA will not be procuring or doing anymore. For the board's benefit, because we may not know off the top of our head, we're gonna have this new agreement to do this, we're not gonna be in this office. We're not gonna do this contract. We're not gonna be using whatever our streaming service here. We're gonna use another streaming service to piggyback on your, ISP, things like that. Those details, I think, are gonna be important to fully know the true cost and benefits and everything. And I'd say in spirit, I agree with all this. It's good, but I just would like to get into those details.
Mr. Chairman, if I can, if we are going to, accelerate the pace of economic growth in the county, and, what you did tonight is facilitate the largest economic development project in the history of Albany County with the expansion of Plug Power. But that can be done several times over. Walt and I and Rosemary have been working on these offshore wind companies. We've got over $2 billion of investment interest, primarily in the Port of Queens, which means that it will all go through the IDA since they don't have their own IDA down there. Now, that not all of that $2 billion is going to happen. That'll be a result of what NYSERDA grants out to the various developers in the amount of megawatts of offshore wind power that they dole out. But the consolidation of the county's economic development entities is essential.
Makes sense.
Because, there are so many different entities, and you don't want the clients to have to figure out, well, do I talk to Bill Clay on this one, or I talk to Al Michaels on this one, or Gary DeMolowitz on this one? You want to have that one-stop shop. Just make it easy and transparent to the customer. We'll worry about all the details behind the scenes. The governance structure of all of these entities will remain in place. The Albany County Business Development Corp., the CRC, the IDA, the Land Bank, they will all have their own separate governance. We just have to work out the staffing of this. And this is something that's done before. As a matter of fact, Joe knows the city of Albany, their economic development entity, the Capitalized Albany Group, provides the same has a very similar type of management agreement with the city IDA. This is on the administrative side, this is the piece that's got to be put together if we're going to do this effectively. On the financial side, the next piece that has to be done is they have to give us a piece of the hotel tax. That's going to be very controversial. It's going to be, difficult to make happen, but we're going to push like heck to make that happen because, we have to, what Albany County did with Plug Power was unprecedented. Albany County committed in excess of $2 million to this project, a lot in excess of $2 million. But that's not something we can continue to do. It's just not, it's not going to happen. If we have a recurring revenue stream in the way of the hotel tax or some other recurring revenue stream, we can continue to do this over and over. And just to remind you, and I know this is a little bit of a dead horse that I'm beating here, Schenectady County Metroplex gets $10.7 million every year from their sales tax. They, as you may recall, years back had a lower sales tax than Albany County. So they give them 1%, which is equal to about 10.7 million. Metroplex has basically redeveloped Schenectady County with those efforts. And they do the same thing. They run the county IDA, they run the city IDA, they run the planning department. The Metroplex is a public authority in and of itself. So we don't have that benefit of having our own public authority, but we can emulate a lot of the aspects of it by this kind of administrative consolidation and cooperation. This has got to be done cooperatively. As Bill said, nobody can put a gun to anybody's head and make them do this. If that's the point, if that's the case, it's not worth doing. This has got to be done cooperatively. There's got to be trust and transparency in how this is done. And it's just got to be done the right way for the right reasons. And if we do, I think for the IDA is going to be the largest beneficiary because these projects, Walt, there's an application that Joe Scott has been working on, hasn't been filed yet, but Joe's been helping it. It's a French company that manufactures cables. that's going to be a $650 to $800 million investment in Port of Queens, if it goes. And there are two others just like it. So no matter what developer gets selected by NYSERDA, a cable manufacturer is going to go. General Electric is looking to build blades down there. Siemens Gamesa is looking to go down there. And all of that stuff is going to come through the IDA. And what I believe is if we can take a much more active marketing of the IDA resources and tools, we can, make a lot of very interesting things happen in the county. We just, on another front, some other things we're doing, we have to have the sites. And, if I may, the third rail here is, and I know there's history here, but of having that the county IDA defers to the local IDAs. We've got a project now that we're working on. It's 1,000 new jobs coming into Albany County. We, the Alliance, identified it. We worked with a developer to get it here. It's very likely to be here. It's located in the town of Colony. If I have to let the Colony IDA do this, but that's going to be a tough one for me to swallow because it is a county project and it should be the county IDA doing this. Central Warehouse in downtown Albany. Albany County took that in foreclosure, paid the city of Albany the delinquent property taxes on that project to the tune of about $500,000. And the city of Albany IDA would be the one to do that project and collect all the fees. I don't think that's right. I think it should be the county IDA should be doing that. And I know this is heretical, probably my fellow IDAs. We have 7 IDAs in Albany County. It's ridiculous. It's, that's not going to happen now or probably in the foreseeable future, but it's something that doesn't make sense to me.
I would agree with you on that.
It's hard to refute, it's, particularly on the ones where the county is foreclosing on a property and paying the municipality back, making the municipality whole for the property taxes that the property owner never paid them, and which resulted in the foreclosure. And the IDA doesn't even, the county IDA doesn't even get the ability to go in and finance the new project, which is I think what is it, Joe, an $90 million project for capital for the cold storage warehouse.
Now, long-term, Kevin, do you see perhaps the Alliance providing these types of services for these other 7 IDAs in Albany County? I mean, they obviously have a strong relationship with Capitalize Albany and that group, but how do you see that
I'm told
going
that
forward?
years ago that happened in Rensselaer County, but Bill, I think it'd be tough. There's a lot of
Territorial
interests in territorial and even political things, and I understand even this board was originally conceived as being populated with people who come from parts of the county that did not have their own IDA. So that, but, there's a lot happening on the IDA front, as Joe knows. There are some reforms that have been suggested, some that make sense, some that are just ridiculous. One of which is consolidating IDAs and having only county level IDAs. That'll be a tough battle, but I think if we just get the administrative, if we can show the other IDAs in this county that the benefit of the consolidation at the county level is something that they could see their way clear to work into, and maybe we could do some kind of community benefit agreement with the municipality so that if the IDA pulls a fee, we give them, instead of giving 1% to the IDA, and I don't even know if this is legal, Joe, you give it to the town or the municipality, the city that you're in, if they don't have their own IDA. But just anything to streamline this process and make it as easy as possible for the national site selectors to locate projects in our county. This can all happen, and these are high-paying, jobs, many of which are union jobs. We've got the workforce here. We've got the workforce development organizations here. Hudson Valley Community College, BOCES, some private training schools. The unions are involved in apprenticeships and the like. Albany County can, if we just do things the right way, can see a significant benefit in the economic future of the county.
Any questions or comments? If there aren't any, then I certainly like to entertain a motion to approve the resolution that simply, again, I think it's been explained that we're not looking for a resolution to approve the agreement, but certainly to give me the authority to move forward with the county in discussion.
I'll move it.
Okay.
Mr. President.
Motion is made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, thank you.
One question for
Yes.
Chairman, if I may. On the motion for Plug Power, my handwriting wasn't clear. Did you make the motion, Mr. President?
No, I've got Mike and I've got, Paul.
Mr. Chairman, okay, thank you, sorry. Thank you. That's all, Mr. Chairman, and.
Okay,
Is there anything further, Joe, that you think?
Well, on a technical issue, we have a secretary. The secretary's not here. It would be nice to get the resolution certified.
Should we?
Could we do an assistant? Do we have a resolution where we appoint an assistant secretary?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, so the good motion would be to appoint assistant secretary to the board. Chairman,
yeah, how about our CEO
is
to act as
does it need to be a board member?
I have to check the bylaws.
I think it's safer, and I don't-
actually
I
appointed
think it's safer.
Yeah, it'd be, right.
board members?
Yeah, board
Oh,
members.
oh, you're saying you don't think it's quite to
Well, we're not
appoint
sure.
an officer?
Right, exactly. It has to be,
Okay.
I think it has to be a board member, I think, Chair.
Okay, all right. Who want to volunteer?
Really, step forward.
Mike is already the treasurer.
Yeah, it would have to be one of you two.
I'll sign, let's.
No, not Mike. You're already,
You're already the treasurer.
we're looking for just a board member, one of the.
Backup secretary, sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Council.
Need a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, may I have a motion for the approval?
I'll move it.
And a second? All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Okay.
Okay, I missed that. I apologize.
Yeah, I've got it.
Who was?
I can give it to you right after the, it's
Oh, no, I know it was, Mr. President who made the motion.
yeah, Mike and Paul.
Okay, thank you.
I gotta change my mind about lawyer, you're right on the ball.
Boy, you're filled with those compliments.
Lawyers don't usually get compliments. We usually.
Thank you, Joe. And thank all of you.
Is there anything further?
No, I don't have anything further. Thank you, Mr.
Okay,
Foreman.
then may I have a motion, anything else? Counselor?
Chairman.
Kevin, anything that you'd like to add before we adjourn? Any? If not, then I have entertained a motion for adjournment. Motion made, second. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Congratulations.
All right, thank you very much.
So the next time we have a meeting, we won't be in this room here.
Hopefully, if we can get the place. And, everyone is pushing to get the agreement, Kevin, I'll put all to this.
You're jumping around like. Like, what did I do? You're fired.
Talk about those, but the red line that we got back from John accepted all. our-
Thanks for that, response.
And then the next thing is, let's have these boards of oil, have another meeting.
It's not an obligation. It's an obligation, but there's every indication. It's gonna be an obligation. Yeah, they may put a one-liner in there, something different, you know. I go back, yeah, this is essentially correct. This is the shape.
Focus on those questions.
Yeah, well, you were technically, you're correct.
Kevin, thanks so much, guy.
Oh, well, thank you. This is a great project.
Meeting
You guys
is
did.
over. Can I just,
Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
you know, we're automatically saved
Thanks.
to my drive.
Good night, Joe.
Thank you very much.
They open a
Shopping center, all the stuff. I don't know.
No, I don't.
Yeah, I don't steal it.
Right.
You're my friend.
It's a long story.
You know.
He's got a job.
No. No. Struggling, he's struggling, but yeah. He said, everything you're doing.
Yeah, well,
All this stuff together. Stop shopping. Wine. Somebody wanted to have to go. I have Bill Hoffman. Right. I don't know if I did.
No, no. we
No,
spoke to
you're
Phil
fine.
several times. Yeah, that's another one. Those times.
Right.
Can I just leave the meeting or?
We actually owned that for quite a while. So
I gotta get out something.
That's what they.
You know, we're in that mode right now.
Last week.
Interesting.
Yeah, we still got, I got until the end of the month.
It's a strange situation. They're collecting newspaper.
Man, I'll tell you,
and then they have.
I get